The Shaka Smart era has tipped off for Marquette basketball, and it is great to be joined by the Marquette Golden Eagles' new head coach. Shaka, thanks for taking some time, and welcome to Milwaukee. It's not often that a program as prestigious as Texas, going through a Big 12 tournament championship like you just went through, now to come to Milwaukee. Why, Shaka, have you chosen to come to Marquette?
Yeah, it's a great time for our family to come to Marquette for a few reasons. Number one, Marquette is basketball crazy. It's a basketball-centric athletic program and university, and it's a place where there's just an extreme passion for this sport. Number two, the more we research Marquette, the more we talk to folks from Marquette, the more we realize it's a family. It's a family atmosphere. It's a group of people that truly care about one another. And then number three, I was just so incredibly impressed with our president, Dr. Lovell, our athletic director, Bill Scholl, and really the alignment that they share with, the vision that goes into winning. And so I think when you put all those things together, it was a slam dunk for us to make this move.
You talked in your press conference about your mom, Monica, being just about an hour away from you and how excited she is. What's something that you miss or have loved about Mom that you can't wait to get back home to see her?
Well, I think she'll be coming here a lot more than I'll be going there. But I just look forward to being around her more. She really, really missed coming to visit my daughter, her granddaughter, Zora, over the course of the last year. Because of the pandemic, she wasn't able to travel. So with us moving up here, obviously she'll get to see us much more. And trust me, the most important person she wants to see is Zora.
What's something that your mom has taught you that's always stuck with you?
She taught me a lot. I mean, she taught me how to treat people. She taught me compassion. Very, very compassionate person. Very good at looking at someone else that's going through something and, maybe feeling or trying to feel what they feel. She taught me about trust and communication, which is so incredibly important. She trusted me a lot as a kid. She didn't have a whole lot of rules for me. One was treat people the right way, and another one was don't bring home a bad grade, which in most cases a bad grade to her was anything but an A. But other than that, she really, really was trusting with my brothers and I, and I think it worked out really well.
What is it that separates a Shaka Smart Run program from others?
Hopefully enthusiasm. I think my biggest strength as a coach, I've been doing this. I've coached for 12 years now, and I've been doing it for 22 years overall. But I still feel like as a relatively young coach, the enthusiasm and the energy that I have when we get on the floor or when we're together as a team is a strength. And so the goal is to try to elicit that same feeling, energy, enthusiasm in the players. And it doesn't happen overnight. Some guys, may not feel like that's their natural way, but I do think it's contagious. And I think once you get 2 guys, 3 guys, 6 guys, 8 guys that, kind of feel that passion and that enthusiasm, now all of a sudden, you have that as part of your culture.
You've seen a great league in the Big 12. What comes to mind when you think about the Big East?
About the same, in terms of the strength of the league. Very, very similar. You've got, both leagues, incredible coaches, Very, very challenging venues to go into and play. You've got a double round robin in both leagues, which I think distinguishes the Big 12 and the Big East from the other, high major leagues, if you will. And then you just got great programs, that recruit really well, have great players. Very, very similar in that way to the Big 12.
One of your mentors is a Big East legend in his own right. Billy Donovan is who I'm talking about.
He is.
Current coach of the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, just a little bit. We go back to the Providence Friars day. What's something that Billy has maybe talked to you about, or something that stands out to you?
Well, I'll tell you what. You mentioned Providence and Coach Donovan. When I was working for him, one of the best things an assistant coach can do is find creative ways to shed light on the strengths of the head coach to incoming players, recruits, and current players. You got to help those guys understand how special this head coach is. And so we dug up some old video, some old footage from 1986 and 87 of Billy the Kid Donovan playing for Rick Pitino, Providence College. And we made a highlight tape. And it was awesome, man. I mean, it brings chills to me even thinking about, like, watching him. He had an unbelievable inside-out crossover. You got to find some footage, John, of that. You remember Coach Pitino had those, like, individual instruction videos that he created? Is back in the day, and, like, our guy Stu Jackson to be on there, like, with helping run the drills because he was his assistant at that time. By the way, I got another Stu Jackson story I got to give you before we get off. So Billy was unbelievable, this inside-out crossover. So we pulled off all these clips. We made this highlight video, and, it was just kind of a way of showing the kids we were recruiting and our current players. This guy was a heck of a player, and he had a little bit of swag too.
We'll stick with the great Stu Jackson, who is now the Senior Associate Commissioner of Men's Basketball at the Big East. I know you'll be interacting with him. You have a story. Go right ahead.
Yeah, Stu Jackson is a guy that I have incredible respect for. You look at his career and what he's done over the course of his career, it's phenomenal. So when I was a kid growing up in, the Madison, Wisconsin area, he came to that school that we won't name and became the head coach. And he ended up breaking a long NCAA tournament drought there. And, he did a phenomenal job. If you remember, he had Michael Finley. He had Tracy Webster. He had a big fellow that he recruited from Chicago, King High School, named Richard Griffith, who I think was a first McDonald's All-American in quite some time in that program. But one thing that nobody knows that he did is he came to Oregon High School because some student wrote him a letter and asked him if he would come be the keynote speaker at our Black History Month celebration. And that student was me. I wrote him a letter, didn't know him, didn't know at the time that head coaches get a lot of letters and probably don't open a lot of them. And he replied. Not only did he reply, he said he would come speak. And he came to speak to our school. I believe it was my sophomore year, 1992, 93, or either that or my junior year, 93, 94. And he gave a great keynote speech. And I'll never forget him for that. And I didn't really have the chance to interact with him for literally like over 20 years after that. Obviously, we were both in basketball. He left Wisconsin to become the coach of the Vancouver Grizzlies, continued his career in coaching after that. and, obviously became high up in the NBA and now, with the Big East. But I never really was able to cross paths with him.
Yeah.
And then I ran into him recently, probably in the last couple of years, and I shared the story with him. And, of course, he remembered. But it speaks to his character. And you get asked to do a lot of things as a coach. I know that now. I didn't know that then. And you can't possibly do them all. So it says a lot about Stu Jackson that, he came down to our school and gave that speech.
It's an amazing story, Shaka, and I can't say I'm surprised at all because that's the kind of person that Stu's always been. It's really incredible. Going back to Marquette here and your vision, I know that the vision is to win on the court. It's to develop young men. But you were in a Final Four. You've been at the highest level of this sport, and you were just coming from a program at Texas that obviously puts a lot into the sport of basketball. Marquette does that too. What in particular have you seen from Bill Scholl? Have you seen from President Lovell? Have you seen from everybody around the building that makes you see the possible of getting this program back to the top?
Well, I think, first of all, it's not even something that you necessarily see. It's something that you feel. And there's an intangible quality about it. I mean, we can quantify certain things. We can quantify, the budget, or we can quantify a number of season ticket members. We can quantify certainly wins and losses. But there is an intangible passion that you cannot quantify. But I will tell you, I have experienced in the last couple of days, that passion is incredible. And so I think it starts with that. And then from there, it's about having an alignment about how to create success. And I have experienced and seen that, in my interactions with President Lovell, with Bill Scholl, and the rest of the administration here at Marquette.
Shaka, we really appreciate the time. Welcome to Marquette, and welcome to the Big East.
Thank you for having me, and look forward to working with you guys.